Good share, we're getting no feedback loops. Early for once, I love it. How's the audio? You doing alright this time around? Have we managed to get a stream that works from the get-go? Or is it shocking? What's the crack? What's the crack? I can't hear myself, but I have the volume turned. That works from the get-go? Or is it shocking? No? What's the crack? Maybe. What's the crack? I can't hear myself, but I have the volume turned. That works from the get-go? Hear nothing. Or is it shocking? No? What's the crack? On. Picking up the mic, yeah, it's picking up. How's the audio for you guys? I can't hear anything now on this end. If I probably plugged the Pillock. I'm sitting here going, I can't hear anything. You know what I mean? How if I plug the bloody thing in? Oh god. This up. I swear to God, you could not make this up. You got echo. You're clear at the moment. I swear to God, you couldn't. Alright, so the volume's working. Alright, sweet. Seems to be all clear. See, look, I've even bothered with me green screen this time instead of you looking at me crappy wardrobe. We're going up in the world, lads. We're going up in the world. Right, let's give us a look. What are we up to today? We're going to get some painting done. We're going to have a bash at doing some Castellan green on me boys. So, I tidied up the skin since the last stream that we were on. I did... What was our skin colour? It's not Elysian green. It's that Death World camo, I think it's called. Base coat. Death World Forest. Yeah, this one. So, that's the base coat for our skin. And then we're going to be hitting... Today, I'm going to be hitting up their uniforms with Castellan green and probably some Eshin grey. They seem to be the colours that I go for. And they end up looking a little tabletop basic, sort of like this. So that's what we're aiming for today. Obviously, you know, green on green, you might think it looks a bit odd, but remember that we're going to be hitting the skin with a wash and then a final highlight up to, what's the town I'm going for? Elysian green. So the skin will get lighter again. So what are we all up to? Who's working on what projects have you got going? Have you been building for the build off? We have, you know what I mean? I'll get me shelf. Keep the whistle wet. Why are the clans now on your Discord? Was the clans on the Discord? Well, speaking of the Discord, I might as well throw in a link. If you're not part of the Discord and you want to enter the competition, the Big Mac small vehicle competition, you have to throw it up in the Discord. You have until midnight tomorrow. So I'll throw up a video saying you have 24 hours left to put in your entries. And then we will announce a winner on the 31st. But yeah. I've been building along myself with you guys. We have clans because people love clans. They love that sort of thing. If you have ideas for the Discord as well, there's a thread in there in the Discord itself. So throw in some comments if you have the ideas. If you want different channels put up, if you want different topics and stuff like that. And we'll get the ball rolling. So I'll dim this. Here we go. So we can see the grot tank I've been working on. Dave is working on a magnetized razorback for his ultramarines. Swank, what weapon are you putting on top? Are you being a cheese whore? Are you doing like the twin assault cannons? That twin assault cannon spam? Steve-O's magnetizing his bases. Squig Boss is here. Steve-O, orc stuff. Orc was off. Yay. It lives. There's a few of yous here. Sweet. So this is what I've been building for the build off, pretty much. Obviously, I'm not entering the competition because I'm running it. That would be a bit. That'd be something like one of them thieving bad moons would try to pull some sort of shenanigans like that. But this is what I've been doing. So this is the turret for the KV2. I just sort of armor plated it up. It still has a shed load of work to do. It's just pretty much a box. That's where I'm gonna put the turret ring. So that's just. It's like it's really sort of a chibi sort of KV2. I built a little sort of commander's hatch and I'm in the process of doing the lid for it. So I have a hinge on one side. I have the lid. So this middle bit is loose. And then these two bits are glued. And I've put some plastic hard rod down the center of it. So this is sort of like a hinge of sorts. And what I'll do is I'll glue the lid of this, and then I'm able to stand grot in it. I think this guy fits. Can have like a grot commander sticking out the top of it. So that will probably go up that. Something like that. And then I'll build like the front of it. I don't think I'll have this finished for the build off, but I'm enjoying building it and I'm taking my time, having a good laugh with it, so I don't mind. Obviously I had like the base shape built out, and I still have the tracks to build, which I think will be the hardest thing to build. But yeah, I've got some basic shapes sorted out. I put in some supports for the engine block. A few guys, like, I was worried you wouldn't be able to see enough of the engine, and I know Orc stuff was saying to me maybe I should just make a grill or a cover, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. I like the idea of putting the engine in there, but it's going to miss a lot of the detail, because when I put the turret on top, you know what I mean? You'll see it out the back, and then I'll put like an exhaust here or something like that. Whatever. I'm just sort of having a crack at it, enjoying it, having a laugh, and building as I'm going. So that's what I've been up to. Between that and painting Orc boys. Little hatch. They're all little tiny weeny bits. Like, these triangles are an absolute bollock to get to line up, and sitting there filing little tiny pieces. Like, look at them in comparison to me fingers. Trying to hold them and file them was a pain in the ass. But we'll get there eventually. I'm just having fun. Dave is saying, did you guys hear the rumor they are discontinuing Citadel glazes? I haven't heard that one. That would be a bit weird. Maybe it's because there's the contrast paints coming out. People are thinking they'll discontinue the glazes. I don't think I use any of the glazes myself. I use some of the shades, but I don't even. I think I might have one glaze, like a green glaze, but I haven't. I'm not really big into them myself, so. But I'm sure there's some people out there that use them. You know what I mean? So we'll put the brightness back up. Have a crack. Painting some boys. Work stuff is saying, tried to build a walker bike with a bit more GW on it. Yeah, that comes in handy. That does come in handy. I was looking at the Warhammer World rules. So if you wanted to go to Warhammer World with your miniatures, it's literally like no third party bits at all. It's all Games Workshop bits. So they're very strict on that nowadays. Which is a bit of a pity, but it can be understood to a certain degree, you know what I mean? We'll shake up the pot and hopefully not too much of it gets stuck in the lid. Seven Gits and the boss of the Squig is the only like on the live stream. Squig boss is giving out again about lack of likes. There's 5 likes there, Squig boss. Calm down, bud. Calm down. Fair play. That shine though. All super clean, super squeaky. It's fresh out of shower, man. That's brand new shine. I even shaved me head beforehand, lads. You know what I mean? Have to look beautiful. The camera. Haven't trimmed my beard out, couldn't be arsed. Trying to get the most out of a visit to the barbers. Plus every time I try and go to the barbers I go to, it's always busy, man. Always busy. Always busy. Very popular. So who's painting? Anybody else painting? Anybody else getting their paint on? He's tormenting here on the chat. Steve-O hitting the like button now. I love how I don't even have to say things like that. People are like, why aren't you liking the video? Why aren't you liking the video? Like, alright, calm down, man. Fair play, but calm down. Right. Sort our paints out. Make sure they're not too thick. Some like it thick though, you know what I mean? Poor old Forge World. He was giving out. They're all giving out in here. Sure, I know. Clarkson, Steve-O, what would we want, Gazzy, when we can have a mech workshop that's unplayable? Oh, I felt that burn right there. I did. Oof, that was yeah. Don't get him started, man. Don't get him started on that mech workshop. Same way the S word is banned in here. No mention of stompers. Don't get me bleeding started. Fair play to you if you can get a win with a stomper. I'll say that much to you. Get a win with a stomper, you deserve a bleeding medal. Crack on with my atrocious painting skills. Like I said, I'm not a great painter. I'm just going for like tabletop basic. Get paint on them. Get ready for some Apocalypse games when Apocalypse comes out. Is anybody else looking forward to Apocalypse? I am interested to see what they do with it this time around, because previously Apocalypse has just been expansion of the base game, whereas now it's something different, man. Asked if I'm painting bases. I know, Steve-O, I know you were doing your bases. God forbid the day you'd be painting, man. You're worse than me. I didn't think there was anyone worse out there in the hobby than me when it came to painting miniatures, but it seems Steve-O has managed to steal that title from me, the thieving bad man that he is. Am I surprised? It's like, nah, not at all, mate. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, there is someone who paints less than me. Now, a tip I got off of some of my friends, and I don't like really doing it, but with the straps that come on the Orc boys for painting them faster, one of my mates said that he doesn't bother. He just paints them the same colour as your clothing, and then comes back and hits it up. Hits up the straps with whatever colour you're using. Which seems like a really good idea, I think, because en masse, you're not really going to notice as much. But I don't know, I'm a bit of a stickler like that myself. Maybe that's my problem. I can't really, you know, I'm not. My technique isn't down to painting boys en masse yet to get it sorted. It's tormenting here. Orc stuff. I'll be listening out for reviews before I commit to buying other GW books. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's almost like if someone warns you in advance that a book is terrible, that you shouldn't buy it, and you still go out and buy it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anyone who'd do something like that at all. No. I don't know any fellow YouTubers who don't take people's advice and still buy books, even though they've been told they're shite. You know what I mean? We wouldn't know anyone like that now, would we, lads? Not in the slightest. Squeak boss, mad knobs. How about 2 bald knobs and 1 git with a hair squeak? You never know, that might happen. Steve-O, who could it be? I wonder, Steve-O. I wonder, the mind boggles at times. It would do such a thing. Ah, there's more than 1 git, I've told. It's like, you know what I mean? If you buy the limited edition codex, mate, it's just a different cover. Surely it's not just a different cover, you know what I mean? Surely there's something else to it. It's like, I don't think so. And lo and behold, twice the price for a different cover, man. I'm telling you. Shocking. Shocking. They'll do anything these days. Are we looking forward to the new paint releases? Are people looking forward to getting their hands on this hype train that is contrast paints? Because boy Christ, they're advertising the absolute snot out of it. I threw up on the Discord there an image I came across. Apparently they're coming back with the Forge World airbrush paint. If there's any of you guys who did like some of the Horus Heresy miniatures and you used some of their airbrush paints, because I know quite a lot of guys who did Horus Heresy did that, used the Forge World airbrush paints. They're bringing them back, I think. I think Games Workshop themselves are going to be releasing them. Tim Reaper. It could be worse. Scar. He could have ordered the 7th edition Warboss edition. Yeah, because that was a sound investment of 100 quid. I think we were only lamenting over that one. You mean the limited edition that didn't come with a serial number, that they forgot to ship with limited edition run numbers, and you had to send off to get, you had to reply to them to get your limited edition number for the codex. Oh man, I should do a video on that. That's hilarious. I still have that box. I still have it sitting up there, actually. It's up on my shelf behind me. But that is hilarious. I have the whole thing. I have like I have the little letter they sent us, I think. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Really messed up. And then they sent us the number in the post. They literally sent, like, they posted you sent them an email and they posted you out the edition number. And you were supposed, I think it's a sticker where you're supposed to stick it to the book itself, but I left mine loose because I thought it was hilarious. Something to show someone. You know what I mean? 100 quid. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was 100 quid. It was 100 quid and you got the codex, you got the Gazgul book, you got some art prints of all of the covers of all of the previous codexes and that one. You got an A4 art print, and then you got some orc objective counters, which are really nice. I think they were the best thing in that box. Between them and the art for that limited edition codex, I think that was the selling point. So yeah, but I honestly though, I think it should have been like, you didn't get any limited edition dice, and it should have been somewhere in the 60 to 80 quid range. There was no way, like maybe 80 quid, but there was no way it was worth 100 quid. No way, man. At all. I think they learned their lesson with that one. Well, actually, they didn't really learn their lesson. I don't know. Like, if they were doing another Orc Codex soon enough, I'd be bitching, because we don't have our one that long. But then how long was the gap in time between Chaos Space Marine Orc Codex and the update? They've updated already, like, it's crazy. Fluffy dice. Oh, the Orc dice that we have now are atrocious. Here, I'll show you. I don't know if everyone got like a handful of these dice, but with the latest codex release, there was limited edition Orc dice. I think they're probably still selling them. They're that bad. They are terrible. They're absolutely terrible dice. Oh, there's some of the tokens I was on about. So these were from, this is from the 7th edition codex. These are the objective, but they're cool. Like, they're copper, I think, or whatever metal they are. That's like objective marker 1. That's objective marker 6. I use these all the time. I don't even keep them in their limited edition box, and they're all the same symbol on one side, so they're really cool. Like I said, that was probably the only thing I liked out of that box set, between that and the art. I have a whole bag of dice here, and I'm trying to just have a quick rummage. I think I left the like limited edition dice at the very bottom, because I never really use them, because they're terrible when you roll them. Limited editions should come with an extra book full of fluff and a book full of art and heavy metal showcases and all that, sort of like the 7th edition codex. I'd buy that. Hans is saying I bought 2 boxes of the special edition Orc dice. Oh, Hans. Oh, you thought you did it bad, mate. I bought 3. Oh my god! Look at them. Look, like, that's the 1, and that's the 6. But like, whoever you're playing against won't notice. So, cardinal sin. Let's talk about dice, all right? Cardinal sin of dice. When you're buying dice, go for something that is clear and concise. So, rule number 1 of dice: don't get marbled effects, because they're hard to read. Okay, so that's where I should have known better straight away. Clear and concise. Rule 2: if you're going to have a mark on some custom dice, all right, have it so that it's only on the 1 or the 6. So, for instance, this is a die I bought off of someone. There's a whole batch of die made, and these are some of my custom Orc dice that I have. But this is the 6, because clearly that's the 1. So, cardinal sin rule number 2: make sure that the 1 and the 6 are not symbols. At least one of them shows something. Okay? And then, finally, cardinal rule number 3: be able to read it. So this colour, when they took pictures of it, that colour contrasted. It was more of an orangey colour. It must have been whatever way they took the photographs. That colour is more of an orangey colour. That contrasted with the dice. And even just here, like, this is direct light. You can see, that's easy to read. That's easy to read. There's a direct light over this, and these aren't easy to read. So these these limited edition orc dice break all 3 of the cardinal rules of decent dice. And I have no idea if they roll well or not, because you can't see them. You really can't. If I dim the light here, it becomes just a pain in the ass. Do you know what I mean? And we're looking directly down on them. So when you're playing with these dice, it's like you're rolling them on the table and you're trying to see. You just can't. You know what I mean? If you're trying to see them for 2, like we're looking at it from, you're literally looking at it from 6 inches away. So looking at it from 3 feet away, or if your opponents are at, these dice are shocking. They look cool, but for dice, they are shocking. There we go. Moral of that story. Dim Reaper saying the best was the Age of Sigmar squig dice. Oh, mate, I saw those dice. I saw them straight away, and they had all like teeth and stuff sticking out of them, and I was looking at them going, how in the hell are they gonna roll? How? They're like red all over, and it was just like, what? How are you supposed to roll these dice? And not only how are you supposed to roll them well, but how are you supposed to read them? You know? I don't mind dice that look swank, but they have to be functional. You know? No point in something looking good if it doesn't work. Oh, if the sports car, it looks really cool, but it doesn't have an engine block. Oh, God. I love it. Love it. What was he saying? Yeah, they bounce. Novelty wears off quicker than a hole in your wallet. And that's pretty much what limited dice do. They're just a hole in your wallet. Like, I have so many sets of limited dice, so I'm like, I probably should give one of these sets away in a giveaway or something at the stage. Maybe. Steve was talking about, just go on eBay and buy 12mm green dice. That's what most of my dice are like this. They're just these. And every now and then I just buy another box and I top up my dice bag. I've got a sizable dice bag that I've... because you're an orc player, you know? Green screen for the win. But, yeah, this is my dice bag, and that is literally packed to the hilt with mostly green dice. I've got my green dice, I've got some of those, like, the bottom third of it is filled with those shitty dice. I've a couple of these. It's mostly them. A few black, a few red. 1 or 2 blue dice to throw at stupid death skulls when I see them. So did Garstag some for his Secret Santa? Painted the plain skull white, 2 yellow, 3 orange, and 4 red. Needs to go fast. The 5 green proper and the 6 blue lucky. Ah, custom dice. There was nice dice that I gave away to someone at one stage where it was literally these green dice and Games Workshop. I think they only sold them in like small packets of 12 or something like that. And on the one it had a skull. I think they are the nicest dice that I've seen from Games Workshop. But there's other custom orc dice that they've done, and I've just looked at them and I've been like, they're not as bad as this, but they do something similar where it's like the 6 and the 1 will be a symbol. You know what I mean? And it's just no. I've been burned one too many times now. Terrible dice. Shocking. I should have known better. But, you know, good photographs, good contrast. False advertisement. That's what got me, lads. False advertisement. You can learn from my lessons. You don't have to make these mistakes. I can make the mistakes. It'll put a hole in my pocket and save you some of yours. You know? Be like you wanted to buy a box of Mega Knobs or something. But decided you wanted to, you know, that you'd go against my advice and go buy a book instead. That you won't like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying anyone would actually do that, but you know what I'm saying. I'll take the hits for the team. Don't worry about it. Who is saying what now? I got 10 boxes. Squig Boss Mad Knobs got 10 boxes of the Squig ones. Jesus. Shocking, man. Keely Guy 52's here. The 3s and 4s are too similar on the Squig dice. Well, this is it, man. You need to be, you know, for dice to work, you need to be able to tell from 3 or 4 feet away what the result is. You know what I mean? And you don't want dice that are so custom that your opponent's going, what did you just roll? You know what I mean? Like, you turn around, you'll pick that up, and they'll be going, well, what is that? Is that a 1? Is that a 6? Or, you know, with these other symbols, it's not too bad. But with some of them, you're like, well, you know, what is it? You and your opponent should be able to know at a glance. You shouldn't even have to directly look at them and scrutinize them. At a glance, you should be able to know what the result is. And if the dice you're rolling fail to do that, then they have failed at their basic job. You know? And that's not taking into account how they roll. Obviously, some of these like funky designs and stuff, it's going to affect the weight of them. But, you know, I think suppose it's the rule of cool at that stage. You're looking for cool looking dice rather than functional dice. There's some god awful dice out there. There really are. Games Workshop have been guilty of a few of them. But those squig dice, yeah man, I saw those and I was like, sweet mother of Gork. The horror. The horror. Shocking. Gilly saying, but you get used to it. Gilly guy, I get what you're saying, that you'll get used to the dice because, well, they're your dice. You're going to be using them all the time. But the problem is when you're playing against somebody who's not used to those weird custom dice, they're going to be second guessing you sometimes, or at a glance they'll be like, you know, what's that result? You know what I mean? And that doesn't help. You know what I mean? Does not help. But yeah, I can understand like having cool looking dice. You know what I mean? We all want some swanky dice. We all want some orky dice that look cool and function at the same time. And like, is that too much to ask? Is it? Cool looking orc dice that are also well designed? Are we asking for too much, lads? I don't think we are, but you know, apparently so. Apparently we are. Wow, this looks worse under the camera than it does from here. But as you can tell, I painted their skin on the last stream and I tidied it up afterwards, so you can be guaranteed that after this stream I'll come back and I'll tidy up the pants. Most of the stream tends to be me chatting shit rather than actually painting to a decent standard. Maybe getting 2 coats on. Never know. 2 coats. Keep them warm. Tim Reaper saying, blue dice hate me. Actually, most dice hate me. Oh, you're one of them. I have a mate who's like that. He has the worst look in the world. I was playing a game of BattleTech against him there the other week. And he could not hit a barn door with his missile rounds and his shots if he was holding the bleeding handle. Like, it was shocking. Absolutely shocking. And I won the game by kicking the leg off of one of his mech. I literally kicked the snot out of one of his mechs, because you can do that in BattleTech. Just kick the snot out of each other. So that's what I did. I kept kicking him until his leg fell off, and then I kicked him in the torso. I was like, all these guns in the world couldn't hit for snot, so I just kicked them. I got pretty lucky. But it was fun. And tactical. I was surprised at how tactical. Between that and probably Gaslands next, Redwell brought my attention to. I've heard of that game and I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting sounding. But interesting to try that out. But after the competition has me busy at the moment. Between scratch building the Plasticard Grot Tank, Plasticard KV2 and other shenanigans. Being kept busy, lads. The amount of videos I've done this month is shocking. 6 for me is like, Jesus. It's the world coming to. Who's rocking up in the world? Gork. Hey, what's the crack, Morgan Gork? Have I missed anything fun? We were bitching about how shit these dice were. These limited dice. And we were talking about good dice design. You know, how they could be clear and concise. And if they're going to have a custom mark, that it should only be on either the 6 or the 1. But not both. So far, that's what we bitched about. So far. I'm sure there'll be some other topics that you guys will probably pull up. And we'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see what these contrast paints are like, and I'm very curious as to how much they're going to sell for, because they seem to be keeping that under wraps pretty tightly. Even the retailers, my local retailers, like, oh, these will be available to pre-order, and people are asking, well, like, how much are they going to cost? And they're like, oh, you know, we can't say yet. So what you want us to do is like, I think this is the problem quite a lot, and it's prevalent in video games as well. This pre-order culture, you know what I mean? Where it's like they'll probably keep the price from us right up until the last minute, and then be like, "Oh yeah, you can pre-order them now." I reckon they're gonna be about the same price as these. Maybe even a little bit more expensive. I think one of these shade bottles costs like €6 or something like that. Like, it's not cheap, man. I reckon the contrast paints are either going to be in and around that price, or maybe even a little bit more expensive. Maybe 5. We'll go conservative. 5 to 6 quid range. I could see it somewhere in that bracket. I could be wrong. Squig Boss, what is he cracking on about? Hi Tubes here. Hi, I just came here from 6 Plus Stevo Orcs channel's vid, and here he is. Yeah, you'd be surprised who you'd find in here, mate. Good few orcs just hanging around, chewing the fat, giving out, getting some paint done, getting that grey tide turned green slowly, very slowly. We'll get there, lads. We'll get there. One orc at a time. One orc at a time. But I'd be interested to see the contrast paints. I'm not going to be using them for my orcs, but I would like to test them out, because I found I've already settled on a skin technique I'm happy with. You know, I suppose I could like repaint them if I really wanted to, but I'm pretty sorted. But for anyone who's starting out with orcs, it might be a good option there. But then it all boils down to the price of them, man. You know what I mean? And then there's the specific spray paint that they're on about. I think that's just a marketing ploy, to be honest with you. Because apparently it's just like, oh, it's a super smooth coat. And it's like, well, yeah, you can get like super smooth base coats done with quite a few sprays. You know? So I'd be interested to see how people experiment with the new contrast paints, where they come out with different base coats. Maybe see if people can emulate how the contrast paints are coming. Do they behave like inks? That type of thing. There's a few videos knocking around of people messing around with them, and they seem like a good starting point for getting a miniature painted, but I don't think they're the be all and end all that they're saying, that they're advertising, where it's like, oh, one tick out and you're done. Like, oh yeah, for, you know, tabletop basic, yeah. Something like what I'm doing here, but I think they will be interesting. Apparently they've longer drying times. It takes longer to dry than shades. And you have to use a specific medium with them. You can't water them down. Watering them down probably dissipates the pigment. I think the whole thing with them is that they're just packed full of pigment. Mind you, the last paint set that they brought out that was packed full of pigments was the foundation paint sets. And they eventually got rid of them. So I don't know. Will contrast stick around? Will it disappear after a while? We don't know yet. I've gone to Games Workshop again and said Skarnir again and got 10% off. Said to Newer to say it again and go away. Never to say it again and go away. I may have specifically said that it was just Foxbox who were doing that discount code. Hopefully for the next build competition, we'll see if I can get a UK retailer to use the Skarnir discount code for you guys. That would be awesome. if we could manage that. So then you could walk into a retailer. I'm not saying it'll be your local Games Workshop, but you know, that'd be cool. Be like, Skarnir, and you'd be like, oh, money off for you, my friend. I see you too like orcs. A connoisseur of the green tide. He was saying, oh, on the paint. Apparently Sarah White might be going, oh, Jesus Christ, man. There's a live stream I did a while ago where I literally had never opened my pot of Sarah White. And I opened it live on stream. And it was like pulling... It was like a ball of blue tack. It was like a lug of blue tack. That's like Ceramite White is shite. It's just shocking, is what it is. Absolutely shocking. Mork and Gork is saying, I think the spray is just satin spray instead of matte. It's like, yeah, do you know what I mean? There are spray paints out there you can use that will give you a smooth finish. I'm sure there's some car spray paints or something like that that you could prime them with. You don't need to be spending an arm and a leg on Games Workshop special formula. Special formula paints, like, you know what I mean? I love how they go on like they've redesigned paint pigmentation. The marketing is amazing. I'll give them that much. Their marketing is top notch. The hype they're building up around it is crazy. Contrast paints. You too can remortgage your house to paint that grey army. I thought that was funny, man. Hilarious. But yeah, I'd like to try them out. I'd like to test them, but I won't be I can't even see down in behind that gun here. I won't be repainting the whole... Won't be repainting my whole army. That much can be guaranteed. Not that much of it's painted, to be honest with you. But Steve-O could use them. You know, Steve-O, you know what I mean? Get some of the... I think they even have a Nazdrag yellow Steve-O. There you go. Sorted. Get a white base coat going. Get your Nazdrag yellow. Happy days. Can't go wrong. Just giving out. Steve-O, love the foundation paints. The yellow was amazing. One coat over black primer. That's true, man. That's true. It was really good. I still think I have a few of them knocking around there somewhere. What I found with some of the... what did I used to do before foundation paints for yellows? For doing stripes like this over over black. If I was doing this the old school, because I used to have Wolfguard back in the day. So what I used to do was I used to paint on Space Wolves Grey. Because Space Wolves Grey covered black really well. And then you could, because it was sort of like a light bluish colour, you could paint your yellows over it and it looked amazing, man. It really did. Instead of sitting there and doing like 6 layers of yellow and it still wasn't super bright. That's what I used to do back in the day. I don't know where I picked that tip up from, but it was a bleeding lifesaver, man. Because I remember I used to have it on the Wolfguard Terminator armor. I think it was the right shoulder pad was black and it had like a yellow stripe down it. So I used to do that for the Wolfguard Bodyguard. Or the Wolf Lord. It's like, yes, Skarnir used to collect Space Wolves back when they were cool. Back before they became a meme. Back before the ridiculous Santa Claus on his sleigh and the Space Wolves riding on giant wolves. Poor Space Wolves, what did they do to them? They used to be Vikings in space, now they're just like... I don't even know. A holy joke is what they are. Like back in my day, always Blackthorn they called. True. Tim Reaper, foundation paints, best tasting paints GW ever. I can't say I specifically sat there and ate my paints. I can't say I've put paint in my mouth, to be honest with you. I think the closest thing I got to was, you know, when you have like a cup of tea on the table and you'd have your painting mug beside you. I do remember a few times, like, I was sitting there and I'd take a biscuit and I'd dip it in the cup and I'd put the biscuit into my mouth and I'm like, Why is that so cold? Like, I have dipped biscuits into paint pots before. I've done that. I haven't drank from paint pots, and I haven't eaten paint off a paintbrush because I tend to wash them first. But I can understand how people could end up doing that. John Paul is here, or Paul, John Paul. Welcome, John, to the stream where we're talking about how various paints taste, apparently, and what shenanigans we've gotten up to. So no, I haven't eaten any paint. I also haven't knocked over. Another thing that everyone and their cousin seems to be doing is knocking these over. I haven't managed to knock one of them over yet. I'll knock on wood for good luck there. But what was I watching? I was watching an old school BBC broadcast of miniature modelers from like the 70s, and the guy, really good idea. The guy had like a metal weight, and he had like a pot of styrene glue, so like liquid polystyrene cement, as we used to call it back in the day. So he had a pot of plastic glue, and what he'd done is he had duct taped it to this weight so that he literally couldn't knock it over. I was like, that's fucking genius, man. You know what I mean? You could pick up tips for stuff, even back in the day. The old school gits, scale modelers. Are there gits in the chat that are in the Dreads competition? I only know Steve-O and Gork Mork. Oh, for Dread was like a art competition type thing. Look at this lump of pigment. Yeah, you'd have to ask, man. I could ask Dreadwa if he wants a channel made, but you know, Steve-O and Dreadwa are like, you thought I was an old school git. They're proper old school gits. They don't even want to use Discord. Like, keep giving me excuses like, oh, I installed it once and it didn't work. Shenanigans, you know what I mean? Excuses. So I've tried to bend their ears, guys. They won't listen. They won't get Discord. You'll have to complain to them until they do, so you can torment them. But I've tried. They won't listen to me. You know what I mean? They won't listen to me about the New York Codex. They won't listen to me about Vigilis. They won't listen to me about Discord. It's like, what can I do? You know, there's only so much arm twisting you can do. If they're not listening, they're not listening, like, you know? Not old school, just poor. Discord's free, there's no excuse. Hans is saying, for yellow, I prime a model force with Army Painter Skeleton Bomb, then go around the details with Agrax Searchade, then give it a wash with Cassandra Yellow. Lastly, edge highlight with Thorn Yellow. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I mucked around with the Army Painter spray paints years ago. I mean, Jesus, years ago. Just to get an Army tabletop basic standard. I think I bought like a red spray, a blue spray, and a yellow spray, and I sprayed up Mega Knobs and Battle Wagons just to get them to a tabletop standard. The whole point being that the list was made up of small units of Mega Knobs in Battle Wagons, and I just pretty much just death rolled stuff to death because it was hilarious. It was an okay list, but this is back in the day when I suppose the list to go, if you're being proper power gamery with the orcs, you would have done a knob biker list. Well, I didn't like knob bikers. I didn't like the idea of it being too cheesy. Even though I was going to tournaments and stuff, it just wasn't my style. You know what I mean? It wasn't my cup of tea. Wasn't for me. But I used to bring battle wagons that would run stuff over. Oh, and I did terribly. But I don't know. It was a good laugh. I enjoyed it. Back in the day. Back in the day before nights, you know? Back in the glory days. 5th edition had problems in its latter years, but the early stages of 5th edition were pretty good, man. Before floors came out, before broken codexes started coming out. He who shall not be named was starting to make codexes. Looks in Dim's direction. You know who I'm talking about. Where is Dread? Well, in the Hangout, he's busy, man. He's gotta, you know what I mean? He gets to be busy. Can't say I didn't warn him in advance. I told him about the streams. Sometimes they make it in. He's made it to previous streams. Sometimes they make it here, sometimes they don't. You know? Priorities. Probably beating the women back with a stick, he is. He was here on the last stream. Normally they drop in. All depends. But it's what? It's 8 o'clock? It's nearly 9. And people doing different things. I'm nocturnal mostly. Most of the time I do be up at night time. I work night shifts anyway, so. Which no harm to me, but might be an early bird for all we know. Said a good fluffy team is so much more rewarding than a cookie cutter competitive list. Yeah, that's boring as well, man. You know what I mean? If you get people who all bring whatever the net list is of the month, it gets boring quickly. And not only that, but people will then build armies to counter that army. So if you rock up with an army that's totally different, you have a better chance, like, you know? Like if the current meta is all vehicles and you bring a shed load of tank busters or whatever, and everybody else is bringing like anti-tank as well, you know, it's gonna be hard for them because they think they're expected knights or whatever the latest hotness is come along and wreck face, and you're there with some tank busters going, what's the story, bud? Or if you didn't have any vehicles in your army at all, that would be bleeding hilarious. That's doable. That's definitely doable with orcs. Get away with those shenanigans. Saying he's probably forgotten. Yeah, Dread's probably forgotten. He's a busy man. He's a busy man. Too early for me, Skarnir. Not sorted my shit yet. Wanted to magnetize while watching. Gotta start it soon. Start at 9 next time. That's an order. Oh, well, it depends. It depends what time. What time do people want it to start at? I can start streams later. If people want me to start at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, or, you know, we're doing the streams later, I don't mind. Like I said, I'm a night owl myself, so throw in the comments what time would be the best time for the streams to start for if you wanted to watch. And if you have specific days, because I can pick a day in the week and I can pretty much do that day in the week every 2 weeks because of the way that I work. I can rotate my days. So if there's a day that everybody's kind of happy with or there's a majority with, you know, it can be done. I'm a reasonable guy. We can work something out. You know what I mean? And then sometimes like today, I'm just like, yeah, I have a day off that day. We'll have a chit chat, you know? We'll throw a stream up, do a live hangout, have a laugh, and go from there. Steve-O's giving out because he has the kids, you know what I mean? I have to tell, I try and take that into account. I try and take into account that some people will have kids. But then I also have to take into account that some people's bedtimes might be cropping up, so you know? You have to... Mountain Yeti. I'm at work, but I had to make an appearance. Oh, fair play, dude. What up from Canada? Nobody's bringing... It's almost 1 PM. Oh, so it's like lunchtime over here? So probably later would be better for you, like. 1 PM in Canada times. There is that as well. People over the other side of the sea. I suppose later would be better for them as well. It all depends. Or we could alternate the times, do it one time 1 week and one time the next week. Might make things a bit too complicated, I think. I think one sort of consistent time would be better for people. Be like, oh yeah, it's that time of the week and it's that hour. There'll be a stream on. To get some hobby done. Because that's what happens with me is I'll do some hobby here. And like I said, the paint jobs I don't do while I'm streaming are amazing. But then it gives me an incentive to get the rest of this finished off during the week. So I'll probably finish off their uniforms for the next stream. Then I have a lot of videos that need to be done. I need to judge the competition. Is what? 27 hours of building left for the Big Mac competition. So I'm going to be judging that afterwards. If people don't already know, I've put a link in for the Discord chat. I'll throw it up again. Link for the Discord. If you're in the competition, throw up your entry in there. Throw up your final images when it gets to the 29th. It will be Greenwich Mean Time on the stroke of midnight on the 29th, and the competition building will be over, and then we'll announce the winner on the 31st. Still plenty of time. Still get your build on. You know what I mean? Not in, you can't win. What if an itchy nose? There's been some kick-ass entries. So I know I'm going to have a lot of work. So what we're going to do is I'll do the video for the 31st, and we'll show all the final entries. They're in on the Discord itself. There is a discussion, a thread that specifically says build competitional final entries. So when you have your final entry ready, or if you run out of time and the competition's finished, just post up in the final entry for the images. I'll throw it up there. We'll have a look. But like I said, it's a building competition. You don't have to worry about painting the bugger. It is solely a building competition. Some of the guys have got their stuff painted already, which is cool. Fair play to them. There's a lot of creative bits and bobs, but try and remember that it is a small vehicle building competition, guys. A small one. Nothing bigger than a truck, and nothing really bigger than a death dread. You guys get... I love how when people get creative, it just... projects just keep on growing and growing, and you're like, sweet Jesus. It's like I started off with a killer can, but I ended up with a Morcadot. Like, alright. Scale gets a bit out of hand. Mork and Gork said, you want some pics of what we are working on during your stream in the Discord once it ends? Yeah, sure, dude. There's the Orc in Progress. Throw up what you're working on in the Orc in Progress during the stream. And suppose we could have a look. That's actually not a bad idea, Mork and Gork. We could do that for future reference as well. Set it up so that if you're working on something, you can post it in the Discord and we'll all have a look on the stream. What projects you're working on. That could be sorted. Be organized, I suppose. Maybe I should make a specific thread for that in future reference. I think I will. What I'll do is, after this stream, what I'll do is I'll make a live stream one, I think. A live stream channel for posting up your stuff. So if you're doing some work, if you're painting along with me, what we'll do is we'll go through at the end of every live stream, probably the last couple of minutes. We'll have a look at the work in progress that everyone's doing. And then go from there. And if I can give you some help, I'll give you some help. Need ideas for stuff? I'm sure some of the other guys in the chat as well. And we can have a look at what people are up to. Cracking idea, bud. Fair play to you. You mean Greenwich Mean Time or British Summertime? Oh, Jesus, don't be confusing me now, will you? Whatever, like, it's 2054. Oh, hold on, what's Zulu time? Let me check what Zulu time is. Alright. Zulu time is international time. 1954. Alright, so it'll be GMT +1 because the time zones are. Yeah, there you go. So Zulu time +1, there you go. Zulu time? What are you on about, Skarnir? It's like I used to work at an airport, mate. That's where I'm getting that reference from. Zulu is like an international time that all aircraft are set to. It's like there's the international Zulu time. You call it Zulu time. But there's that international time. And then your time zone is either plus or minus that time. So, yeah, there you go. So we're at Zulu time +1 hour. That's the time. The competition ending. So it'll be Greenwich Mean Time +1. Midnight. 29th. There you go. I you know what I mean? Things you take for granted. Be right back, gotta go to work. Yeah, slacker, go on. Sure not get caught. Anthony Leb has just added his. Sweet. Morgan Gork is currently edge highlighting his Kinder cans, but I'll post some pics once the stream ends. Oh, alright, cool. Sweet, man. Like I said, Morgan Gork, I'll make up a thread so that we'll have a look in future streams. We'll have a look at people's projects. I'll put one up. And we can do that. We can have a look at what people are working on and what projects they're on. I've seen your killer cans. They look sweet, man. Very original. A lot of character. But like that's pretty much everything you build has a shit load of character in it. Really cool. One of the really interesting things. Like your what were they? The little grot vehicles with the big ears and the noses and stuff. I thought they were hilarious, man. I thought they were brilliant. Your Wiggle 2 floof for the competition as well. Very unique. I'm sure it's not some people's cup of tea, but I get the humour in it. It's funny. I think some people don't quite get that. Sometimes they take orcs a bit too seriously. But you have to be able to have a laugh at them, you know what I mean? Take yourself too seriously. What do you think think we're Space Marine players or something like that? We take ourselves too seriously? Next thing you know, we'll be arguing about different marks of power armor. Well, actually, if it's in the Horus Heresy, he wouldn't be able to wear a... Nobody cares! Nobody cares about what mark of power armor you're wearing. Just shoot him. Oh my god. The arguments, the Facebook arguments, it's hilarious, man. I love it. It's entertainment at its best. Entertainment at its absolute best. Technically, that pattern of bolter wouldn't be... Nobody cares! Oh, God. Too easily entertained. Too easily entertained. That's what my problem is. Will I paint this helmet green? I'm wondering. Really am. BST then. What? British Standard Time, is that it? Steve-O's asking, which factions players do you think take the game most seriously? I wouldn't say Imperial Guard players. I'd say... Well, this is the problem. Like, who was the last serious person I played against? I personally... Because there's no point in just going from, like, hearsay and stuff like that. I'm trying to think who was the last person I played who was super serious about the game. I don't think I really play people who are super serious about the game. I know of a handful of people who are, like tournament players and stuff like that. And then they tend to play like knights, Castellan knights and all that type of stuff. Which is a bit of a stereotype. But I think those, yeah. But tournament players would have to take the game seriously, I suppose. So, whatever the Imperial soup is, so like knights and Imperial card support with like Custodes, whatever. Those dudes, they probably take the game super serious. You know what I mean? A super competitive tournament list. But that's, you know, not everyone's like that at a tournament either. You know what I mean? Sure, the tournament scene's changed a lot since I went back in the day, but even back in the day, I think... I think the problem with tournaments is there's a small minority of people who generally end up near the top because they are uber competitive, who give a bad name to everybody who goes to tournaments. You know what I mean? the sort of rules lawyering, argumentative type folk. There's only a handful of those dudes. Well, that was my experience back in the day. That there was only a handful of those dudes. They were only a minority, and the majority of people who were there were great crack. You know what I mean? You go away for a weekend, you get pissed drunk with them for the laugh. That was my experience of most people at tournaments when I used to go. It was good crack. You know what I mean? But then again, I went to tournaments and didn't care about winning, which is sort of not the attitude to have. I just went along for the laugh, seeing what stuff I could wreck. I'm getting a few wins in, but you know, I was sort of a mid-tier to bottom type guy. I was just too nice. I'm just too nice to be playing in tournaments. Oh, British summertime. Get you now. Pansies or tail, Steve I was asking. Oh yeah, pansy players can be pretty serious. And tail. I don't know, I despise them with equal... I don't despise the players, I despise the armies. It depends. If it's like Uber... Like I spent all of 7th edition playing against Eldar and their... Oh Jesus, the amount of psychic powers... That was like pulling teeth sometimes. It was crazy. But then, it depends. Like, some people play tail. And it's like playing a different game. You know what I mean? You're fighting against someone who's sitting in the corner and he's got 1,000,001 shield runs on. Like, this is boring, mate. But I think that's just the addition. You know? It's not a close combat orientated edition. I don't think we've had a close combat. I don't think we've had an edition that's been balanced with close combat and shooting since probably 5th. As 6 brought in the Overwatch, and I think since Overwatch came in, it's tilted the other way. You know what I mean? But then again, beforehand, swings and roundabouts. Some people would have argued that close combat would have went too far. Like, I do remember in 3rd edition that you could consolidate into another combat and fight in another combat and all that type of shenanigans. So you could have units rolling up armies and tearing chunks out of them. But Dim would probably be able to tell you more. I did used to play the odd game of 4th edition, but that was the edition I started in, so it wasn't really the edition of 40k I understood and played well. I don't think that happened until 5th edition. I didn't play much of 4th edition because I was big into Warhammer Fantasy at that point in time. But the edition of 40k I played the absolute nuts off of was definitely 5th edition. I played, I don't know how many games of 5th, a lot of games of 5th edition. Tim Reaper is saying the worst players are usually denoted by the level of meta in their list, which is basically what you started saying. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. People who build lists by exploiting the game. Power gamers. Yeah, there you go. They're just trying to power game. Build army lists out of exploits and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But then I was watching an argument on Facebook where someone was pretty much saying that. This guy with a podcast, I can't remember. But I was watching the argument unfold. And I was like, oh. See, you'll say that. You'll say, oh, power gamers are ruining the game. And then, my God, the torrent of abuse you will get. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Absolutely crazy. But that's just the way the game is at the moment. Like I've said to folk before, it all depends who you're playing against. If you got mates you can play against, you can play any edition of the game, or you can have narrative games, you can have fun games. But if you're stuck going to the local store, that's the only place you can play, then your local meta, you know, what you're up against. And all it takes is one guy to start the arms race and just get out of hand. And then there's guys who want to practice for tournaments as well. Like the local group. I haven't been over to the I haven't played a game of 40k in a little while now. I haven't been over to the lads in the group. The gaming group I'm in. But some of the guys here coming up for tournaments and stuff will say it beforehand. You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, look, I'm trying out a tournament list. You know what I mean? Which is common courtesy. But then sometimes you'll get people who won't say that to you. So you'll rock up expecting like a friendly game. And then you'll be like, what the flying fuke is this? You know? You'll have a different mindset. But some people play like that as well. They're like, oh yeah, just a friendly game. And then they'll come with a super meta list. And it'll be like, what was the point? You just wanted to win? You know what I mean? It's like life, mate. It's not what happens at the end. It's the journey. That's a good game to me. Did you enjoy the progression? Did you enjoy the game itself? Doesn't matter if I won or lost. I've been tabled and I've had some great games. And then I've won some games and I thought they were shit. You know? For me, it's the playing experience. And a large part of the playing experience is who you play against. So, it all depends. Hey, Craig's here. What's the story, bud? I was only giving out about you and your Elder back in 7th edition. With your 13 Paradise. Jesus. Good times, though. Good times. We used to rock it in Dark Sphere. That's where we used to game. Down by Waterloo Station in London. Good times, man. When there wasn't a Magic the Gathering tournament going on, because holy Christ, the amount of Magic players, crazy. You'd rock up to Dark Sphere and it'd be like, oh, there's a tournament on, and there would literally be nowhere to sit. And it's not a small store either. It's under the train arches. Do you know, they have to accommodate for everyone. And by Christ, do Magic players spend money? They spend money. From what I've been told by game store owners, well, those are the collectible card gamers. Those are the dudes who keep the fucking power going. Like, they spend stupid money. Think we're bad. Christ. They spend a shed load of money. But I suppose it's the same sort of thing that Games Workshop's aiming for now. There's a turnover with collectible card games and stuff, where your list or your deck can only be used in tournaments and stuff like that. I think it's for like 2 years, and then there's a new booster release every 6 months, and then some cards are banned and stuff like that. So there's a constant churn. I dabbled in Magic once, and I realized, I looked at it for what it was, and I was like, nah, you're all right, mate. This is too much of a long-term investment. Pretty much like a drug addiction, but then they'll look at us and they'll be like, hating toy soldiers, you fools. No? But different hobbies for different folks. Good laugh. Craig married. Oh yeah, 7th edition Eldar. Yeah, yeah. Fun times, yeah. Craig's working on terrain. Are you still working on your buildings, was it? You were working on 2 buildings the last time you were painting some terrain. The last time I was chatting to you. You were looking pretty good, man. Marcos is saying, love the BLOODAXE paint jobs. Thanks, dude. These are super basic, but do we even have one that's half painted here? So I think most of mine are put away. I'm just going for tabletop basic with these, man. But I do camouflage paint schemes. Like, see, look at the difference between the skin. So that's the skin when it's finished, and that's what it's currently like. You know what I mean? And then I come in and I do camouflage patterns. So I'm just putting base layers down for the moment, just to get it blocked out. And they'll look something like this once I've got all the base layers in. And then I'll hit it up with wash, and then I'll come back in and I'll do camouflage patterns. And I'll do washes and drill out barrels and hit the base with a dry brush. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm aiming for the army overall. It's just to get to this sort of tabletop standard, where it looks good from like 5 or 6 feet away. And then I can worry about doing camouflage and detail and all that type of stuff. Once I have a painting standard across the army where visually it looks okay, and then I'll build on that. You know what I mean? It's a good foundation to have in the army as a whole. And then I'll go from there. Mountain Yeti saying Magic is crazy. Depending on how you play, every couple of months, certain sets of cards become obsolete. Then you got to buy more. It's a fun game, but what a scam. Yeah, that was the impression I got from it. Like, I liked the game, but I felt there was too much of that where it was like, yeah, there was too much of a churn. You know what I mean? But that's what 40K's kind of become, you know? So, it is what it is, I suppose. But some people love that, you know? And I will say the bonus of it is, if you're rocking up to play a game of Magic, like, you just need a deck of cards. You don't need to bring along a carry case, and because I've you know what I mean. Having lived in London at one stage, it could get problematic depending on how big a game you're trying to play. Like, if you wanted to play a 3,000 point game, and you're bringing 2 carry cases and you're using public transport, it's like, Jesus. Or worst case scenario, you forget your carry case on an underground tube. You know what I mean? I think I know someone who did that once. Won't say no names. You know what I mean? Whereas a deck of cards, you can just throw them in your backpack or stick them in your pocket or whatever, and you're laughing. So I can see the pros and cons to different things. Like, I'm not one of those guys where it's like, oh, filthy card gamers. Why don't, I only play wargaming, that type of thing. Because there can be sort of an elitist attitude towards different hobbies. Where people will be like, you're not into the thing that I'm into. What's wrong with you? I don't get that. I'm more of a, I'll give it a bash. You know what I mean? I'll be like, oh, it's a card game. Do you want to sit down and play? And I'll be like, yeah, grand, cool, I'll play it. I might not get into collecting it. I might not get the bug, but I'll give it a bash and I'll give it a go. I like trying new games. Like Dominion, that's a really good sort of card game I like, because it's sort of self-contained. I like that type of thing, and I love board games because they're self-contained games themselves. They come in handy. JK was asking, what do you find best to highlight the flesh? JK, the painting technique that we smash up on these orcs is as follows. Stellan green. Wash with a Tonian camo shade. And highlight with Elysian green. That is the orc skin, and you end up with something that looks a little like that. It's pretty, it's like it's a natural sort of, it's more muted. It's not like, I used to paint a different color back in the day a bit more. You know what I mean? More typical orc skin. But it still looks like orc skin, but it's not. It helps differentiate when it comes to military sort of colors. You know what I mean? Whereas this was, I think this was based on orc flesh, and then, was it WAAAAGH flesh or something like that? And then highlighted up. That's what this one is. Which doesn't look bad either. There's more than, like, same with skinning cats, there's more than one way to paint an orc. You know what I mean? There's no one right way. It all depends on what skin tone you like, what one you're looking for. And you don't have to use the same skin tone across the army either. You can change it up. Especially if you're, you could do it for fluffy reasons, where you're like, your army is made up of different clans, and different clans could come from different planets, and depending on how those orc spores sort of go off and the climate that they're used to, you could have different colors of orcs in the same army to show that they're from different planets and stuff like that. So you don't have to stick to the one skin color across the whole army, but it does help. It will help. It'll help unify the army, especially for the likes of BLOODAXE'S. It'll help unify the army visually for me if I have the one sort of skin tone going across, because I'm not having the same uniform. You know what I mean? Each of my units is sort of ragtag. Like, I pick 3 colors and I mix up the camo. So like one block of 30 guys, I'll have one type of camo. The next block of 30 guys, I'll have a different type of camo. But I'll mix it up. It'll be like, this guy's pants will be green and his top will be green. So I'll do like his pants camo. And then the next guy, I might do his top camo. And then the guy after that, I might do like, give him a pair of grey trousers. So I try and keep the camos The same for the units, so I can tell at a glance when when I'm playing a game and I'm playing against someone. You know what I mean? We'll be able to look at these two guys who are beside each other, and I'll be able to tell. Because sometimes what happens when you've got lots of orcs and you're playing on the tabletop, it gets confusing as to which orc is in which unit. Whereas if they're like this, I could turn around and go, well, he's part of the unit that's sort of khaki and grey predominantly. He's part of the unit that's, predominantly like green uniforms. So even if these guys are still, in the same combat and it was totally mixed up, I'd be able to visually at a glance tell. That's the whole point I'm trying to get across with the army is, yeah, they're camouflaged, but they're all different. But still, at a glance, you'll be able to tell, oh, he's from this unit, he's from that unit. You know what I mean? The only other way I could really think of doing that is if I painted the rims of them different colours. But I thought that might be a bit too jarring visually. Also, keeping it black is fine for me. Mountain Yeti, I love the minion. I got several expanses. Yeah, classic game, man. Cracking game. Dim Reaper's already, it's already happens called the index. That's true. Squig Boss Mad Knobs, are you going to say why the entries in your competition didn't win? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know who's going to win. I'll say like this, that there's no anybody who's entered something into the competition. There isn't any entry where I turn around and I go, that's a pile of shit. There's not one of them. Like, this competition has blown my expectations of what people were going to enter. The quality of all of the builds, and I'm being sincere when I say this, there is not one bad build in there. All of them, they're all good. They are all good. And they'll be good for different reasons. Some of them have really great themes. Some of them have kick-ass build quality. But they are all good conversions. And that's not being everyone's a special snowflake. I can't hurt anyone's feelings. That's my honest opinion. Like, all of the builds, there's not one bad build. So for me to turn around and then be like, oh, you didn't win because this, or you didn't win because that, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, look at what I'm building. It's an armored box at the moment. I'm not going to turn around and tell people, you didn't win because this, you didn't win because that, because I think that'd be a bit shit. I'm not here to shit on anyone's parade. I'm like super proud of everyone who's entered. And even if you don't win, at the end of the day, you'll have gotten a kick-ass build over. Now, if you want some constructive criticism or you want guidance, feel free. Ask me, ask the guys, ask Steve-O, ask Mork and Gork, ask anyone in the Discord. There's no harm in people giving you constructive criticism if you want it. If you want guidance on how to go with your conversions, yeah, that's cool. But I won't be going through all of the entries and going, you didn't win because you're crap at this, you didn't win because that. You know what I mean? I think that's just, yeah, you don't want to kick someone when they haven't won. You know what I mean? Because I know people are going to be disappointed they didn't win anything. I know that. Because I've been in competitions before myself, and you feel a little disappointed when you didn't win. But the only good thing you'll have at the end of this competition is, if you don't win anything, you'll still have a kick-ass conversion at the end. Because there's none of the builds are crap. Not one of them, like. They're all good in their own little unique ways. And like I said, that's not like that's not the special snowflake patrol speaking. That's my honest, sincere opinion. Is I don't think any of the builds are crap at all. I'm quite surprised at the caliber. I really am. But if you want help and feedback, don't be afraid to ask in the Discord if you want guidance on where you could go next with your build, or you need help, or you're having problems with certain things. But we're all learning. Nobody knows everything. We're always learning. I'm always learning stuff. Everybody learns. You keep learning until the day you're in the grave, man. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid. I just wanted to. That may seem. I don't know if I came across defensive there or something, but I don't see the point in just giving people shit for the sake of giving people shit. You know what I mean? Nobody knows everything. But if you want help with stuff, don't be afraid to ask. There's plenty of guys there who will give you a dig out. You know what I mean? Definitely. Ask in the Discord if you want help. No problem with that. If you want my help on something, ask me. I'll give you my honest opinion. you want constructive criticism, if you want help with something, I'll help you. But you know, I'm not gonna sit there and go, you didn't win because this, you didn't win because that. That's a bit shit. That's just me. Craig was talking about that was me, his sense of horror. Yeah, Craig managed to leave his old school Elder army on a tube once when he was coming for a game. Or were you going home? I can't remember. It was either he was coming for the game or he was going home. I think he was coming for the game, but he managed to get it back. Yeah, man, the horror. It would have been horrible to try and replace all of those miniatures. JK is saying, yeah, that's a great point. Literally, the idea behind my army is all the clans come together working under Gazgold, so I've been trying to get differences in there. That's cool, yeah. Jay, that's my thinking. There's loads of different thinking on painting the skin of your orcs, different colours. It all just depends on what way you want to go. Marcus is saying, I like trying different green shades for different mobs. That's true again. Like, you can say they're from different planets or they're from different spores if they spore in different parts of the planet. You can work in loads of different things in it. Mountain Yeti saying, I agree, Skarnir, the competition seems to be able to inspire one another and learning from each other and building sweet models. Yeah, man, it's like, holy crap. It's it's been like, it's very inspiring. Different ideas and concepts that people have come up with. Very inspiring. Like, I've been inspired with a lot of the projects and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I would have never thought to build something the way that somebody else builds. I like when that happens. You're like, that's really cool. I like that idea. But I don't like this aspect of it. So if I was building one, I'd do it this way. Or I really like that idea, I'll just build it nearly the same. That's inspiration. That's how the world kind of works. You know what I mean? I don't get the whole, you put an idea out there and then it's like, oh, well, you stole that idea from this person. Like, it's called inspiration, dude. As long as you're not making copies of their miniatures directly. That's theft. There's a difference. You know? But that gets into a grey area. But yeah, there's no harm in being inspired by stuff. Look at Games Workshop, for instance. They've been inspired by lots of pop culture from 2000 AD to Star Wars to Dune to whatever, you know? Very hard to be original. Especially with the amount of influence we get from our culture. Pop culture. Sure, DM is sort of losing it a little bit. He's like, culture? Or lack of it, in some people's opinion. Or lack of it. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. We've so many points of influence now these days. The amount of advertising, the wealth of knowledge we have at our fingertips. You know what I mean? The internet. Interesting. We got some green guy. Who's giving out? I've got a dislike. Somebody must be a night player. Oh, I love it. Orc stuff. Okay, the Squig Boss. This one won because I like it more than the others. The others didn't win because I didn't like them as much as this one. Yeah, pretty much. It's not like anyone's is crap. It's just like I'll have one that I really like. Ian's here. Was is in the gaff. Me too. I've always learned from others. I basically steal all my ideas. Mountain Yeti is saying he's stealing all his ideas from Ian. Well, that's it. Like, there's inspiration everywhere. Everywhere, man. Like, when I was sitting down and starting to do me little scratch build that I'm doing over here, my inspiration was a KV2 tank. Because it has a big, boxy, derpy turret. You know what I mean? But that's what I was aiming for. But it's not a KV2. So it's like sort of a chibi grot tank version of it. But there's no harm in being inspired at all. We all get ideas from everyone. You get 7 or 6 ideas and mash them together into this sort of Frankenstein project and you'll have something unique. Just put your own twist on it, you know what I mean? You don't want to copy someone directly, but put your own sort of flavour to it and be creative. Gilly Guy said, left a box of Skitari on top of the car once, got lucky it didn't get run over or something. Oh man, I've done that before where I've gone to, I've stopped in a garage on the way to work and I bought like a packet of biscuits, put them on the roof, got in the car and started driving And then I think I stopped at the traffic lights and the packet of biscuits slid in front of the windshield and stopped where the windscreen wipers are. I was like, thankfully, they didn't go missing. But yeah, man, like, I could only imagine if you had like Skitari, or I'd really hate it for it to happen with your army box. If you had miniatures and like you dropped it or you left it, or like the horror if your boot opened or something like that and they went flying out. That would be shocking, because I think of the amount of time that we put into painting all the miniatures and building stuff. You know what I mean? And then for it to either get wrecked or get stolen. I've heard that quite a few times as well, where I think it happens in the States quite a lot, where people think that guys leave cases in their car, and what will happen is people think they're gun cases and they'll nick them. You know what I mean? So that, I think that happens quite a lot in the States, where stuff gets lifted, people thinking it's something else, you know? Sadly, it happens. But, you know, moral of the story, don't leave stuff visible in your car, but can't be helped. What is it they say? A lock will only keep an honest man out. Craig was saying, I was coming up for a game, only delayed by an hour. Was pleasantly surprised by the speed and efficiency. What thickness of plastic card would you recommend, says Hans Gruber. Hans, I would say it depends on what you're trying to build, mate. WAAAAGH could probably give you some tips there, since he has a lot more experience with plastic card than me. Wanted to chime in, but from what I've heard, thinner plastic card is more malleable, so it's easier to flex and stuff like that. But if you want to build like chunky armor, don't forget that you can always layer up plastic card. So you can always make it thicker, but you're not going to be able to make sheets of plastic card thinner. So if you start off with sheets of plastic card thinner than you need, you could always make them thicker, and then, you know what I mean, you can always layer them up if you want thicker plastic card, if you start off with thin sheets. You know what I mean? But then that could get expensive. So I'd say there's no one size fits all. It all just depends what you're building. Like, I bought sheets of plastic card years ago, and I think they're like, I don't even know, they're maybe like 1.5 or 2 mil thick. It's plastic card here, and I use that for like the base structures. But my problem is I don't really have any textured stuff, so it looks a bit boring after a while. I just try and beat the crap out of it a little bit, give it a bit of texture, you know, whittle the sides down. But it depends. I'd say you'd want a mixed bag. I think they call Evergreen do a specific mixed bag of sheets of plastic card. You could, that's a good start. If you're starting off, you can get like odds and ends, I think they call it. It's a good start with. Heading off, enjoying the rest of the stream, everyone. Maybe catch you on Discord tonight, Scar. Yeah, I'll be on the Discord later, dude. Feel free. What biscuits were they? Hands. I think they were brownies. Like, they were like sort of cookie brownies. You know the slices of brownie you can buy in packets? I think they were brownies, Hands. They were lined up for a decent cup of tea later in the night. They were lined up. I would have been absolutely heartbroken. Nothing worse than a crushed biscuit. There really isn't. And there's nothing worse than a cup of tea without a biscuit, you know? Some things are just meant to go together. Good cup of tea, decent biscuit. Can't go wrong, mate. Can't go wrong. Speaking of cup of tea, that one's probably bleeding frozen by now. Need to get a thermal mug. Is what I need for the Hangouts. I'm pretty sure that, you know, yeah, I need one of them cup warmers. I think you can get them. They're like USB. They plug into your PC. The little coasters that are warmed. And for a 2-hour stream, like, yeah, I'd need a cup warmer, man. Because I'd definitely be tepid after about 10 minutes. Definitely. That and a small stash of biscuits. But then you don't want to be listening to me going chewing on hobnobs or whatever. Give it a dip. Have a chomp. You know? Jab. Just depends. Just depends, man. Game's heading off. John Paul says, I haven't built for a couple of days now. Have a stiff neck right now. Could be your sleeping position. I know if I sleep on a shit mattress, my back ends up in tatters, but that's part of getting old. When you're young, you can sleep anywhere. I remember sleeping in like bathtubs and stuff like that in house parties, and I didn't care. But as you get a little bit older, you're like, bollocks to that. Mountain Yeni say, I really like the diamond board pattern of plastic art. Yeah, that diamond board pattern plastic art stuff looks mint. I just haven't got my hands on any yet. If Waz knows where we can get a decent supplier, you know what I mean? He could shoot us a link in the old Discord there, Waz. Hook us up, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know Gar gets diamond plate as well. I need to get myself some diamond plate. Dublin's not great for getting sort of specialist plastic art patterns. I know you can get rollers from Green Stuff World, so if you rolled out you can roll out diamond plate. But that seems like an awful lot of effort. You know what I mean? And then the thing you want to be doing is get it in the right sort of scale where it looks right. You don't want it to be out of scale with the miniatures as well. And want some corrugated pattern as well. That'd be sweet. Some corrugated sort of the corrugated roofing plastic card like that. That'd be sweet. Hans is saying thanks for the advice. No bother. Craig was saying, imagine the expression on the faces when they're expecting a gun but got some weirdly painted models. Yeah, man, I can be like, what the hell is this shit? Little did they know it's probably worth more than a gun. How about Ice-T? What do you think about the orc song? Well, which orc song? There's several orc songs. Ice-T, it's generally cold in Ireland. So, I tend to drink a lot of tea. Hot tea. But generally, I don't drink iced tea. I have tried iced tea when I've been on holidays in like France or something like that. And yeah, it just depends. I'm not adverse to iced tea, but you know, sweet teas and stuff like that if they're chilled. But I don't put sugar in my normal tea. Like, what type of heathen do you think I am? Like, my God. Next, you'd be telling me, you know. Next, you'd be asking if I put milk in before the tea bag. It's like, oh, Jesus. Who would do such a thing? Ruin a good cup of tea. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. He's even talking about it now. I'm like, I should put the kettle on soon. But we'll soldier on. We'll persevere. We'll keep going. Look up orc song on YouTube. I think I've listened to several orc songs on YouTube. They seem alright. Ian is saying he gets his from a local model shop, the train model shop. Yeah, I get you, dude. I've gone into a few of the model shops to try and find textured plastic card, but they haven't had any diamond plate. Like I said, Ireland's not great for shops. Aren't, you know what I mean? There's not as wide a selection here, and places tend to not keep a lot of stock. So what tends to happen is you'll rock into the store and you'll be like, do you have this? It's like, no, we don't have it in stock, but we can order it in for you. And it's like, it would be cheaper for me to just order from the internet, mate. You know what I mean? Traveling into the city centre, you know, between the petrol and the parking, or maybe your bus fare, you'd be like, well, what's the point? I want to be able to rock in and buy stuff. So, I can understand that. I went into, there's a couple of model shops. There's one on Capel Street. It's literally just called the model shop. There's one up on the Keys, Mark's Models. Went in there as well looking for. Now they have plastic art. Those guys mostly do like Hornby train sets and stuff like that. So you'll get a good selection. So go into the stores like that. If you've never been into model train shops and stores or scale model places, get your ass in there, man, and have a rummage around. One of my mates who lives in the UK was telling me his local art and hobby store That's where he got it. So you can, you know what I mean? You'll find supplies in all manner of places. You really will. You need to go looking. You can't just keep sticking to gaming stores. You won't have enough of a selection. Like, you need to have a rummage around and see what you can find. Mountain Yeti, me too. Model train shops have all the good stuff. Yeah, man, they really do. Or some stuff from Green Stuff World. I needed a board creator thingy. Oh, like what are they called? The cable creator type things. One of these. I have one here. Bought this like ages ago. I don't think I got it off of Green Stuff World, but it's like tube rollers, and they come out pretty cool when you do the tube rollers. Still have this guy up here who's not finished being painted. So that's these tubes on his mask. That's what they are from, and that's just plasticard and just some bits. So like that's plasticard all chipped away and stuff. So yeah, getting tube rollers like that, they're pretty cool. Is that what you're on about? These sweet conversions. Need to finish painting him up eventually. I don't really see putting a knob with a WAAAAGH banner in my army, but I thought it was a cool miniature, so I was like, fuck it. Do it. 6 plus Devo. Me, milk enforced always. Jesus. Like. Really? Really, Stevo? Milk enforced. Ugh. I can't. I just. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't talk to him now. I won't be able to look at you the same way, but milk enforced. Jesus. Jesus. You'd be bleeding shot if you did that to someone over here. Shocking. Next you'd be telling me you drink like PG tips. It's like, if it ain't Yorkshire, you know, it ain't worth it. Or Tetley's. Don't tell me you drink that muck. Oh, God. Tetley's tea. Oh. Yorkshire Gold. There's a good cup of tea. Proper cup of tea there. Go on. I'm waiting for what he's gonna say, like Tesco's finest now or something. Ban him. I might do, Waz. I might do. That's an affront to society, to civilization. Milk enforced. Tea or coffee? Depends on the mood. Good Waz. I was drinking a late of coffee, but last days I spilled it 5 times on my pansy and now I only drink Monster. Jesus, don't be drinking that shit, man. Delicious coffee. Never drink tea. Coffee. You never drink. Never drinks tea. From what my mother tells me, I was given tea in a bottle as a child, as a baby. I've been on this stuff for a long time now. Coffees are alright. It depends. It depends on the mood. If I'm tired, like, I wouldn't mind getting an old a coffee into me. Then I'll take it like black with sugar. But that's more for the caffeine rather than anything else. So I don't mind coffee. There's no tea on offer, or there's no decent tea. Then I'll take a substitution of a decent coffee, like, you know what I mean? For a moment there, I thought you were telling me you make cups of tea with the milk in first. I'd be Jesus. Now I know Steve-O's a coffee guy. He's got himself one of them what do you call them? The Nespressos or something like that, or Tassimo, or whatever brand of coffee maker is popular at the moment. They are handy though. I have to say that they are handy. Throw the cappy in, push the button, and away you go. We're chugging along nicely. What have I got? I've got like 6 of them got the uniform done. I think I'm just going to do these 10 all just green. No idea how long the stream's going for either. Oh, we're grand. We've got like 20 odd minutes left, lads. Still rocking the boat. Steve was saying, but I'll make a lot of teas for peeps, and although they disagree with the milk enforced, they always say my brews are amazing. I used to drink tea. Oh, banned. Getting the ban hammer, yeah. If you were in Discord, I'd ban you from there too, but you're not. Tassimo. Yeah, I knew it was something Mo or whatever brand they're doing now. Something emo. One of those push a button and away you go jobs. That's what it is. So now what I need to get my hands on. Do you ever see those 1 cup boilers where it's literally like you'll push it and it's like a cup of tea in 20 seconds? It boils enough for 1 cup of tea. That's what I need to get myself. I'll have to get the missus to sort me out with one for Christmas. Put it on the old wish list. Definitely, I think that's the next thing I want to buy. It's like, never mind miniatures. It's like, does it make tea really quickly? Yep, I'll have one of them, so can't go wrong. Have I got everyone talking about brands of kettles? What's the secret recipe, Steve-O? Well, as I was saying, I'll let you off, Steve-O. Milk always forced with coffee. Well, yeah, alright. With coffee, yeah, I can understand. Milk forced, especially if you have sugar in and it's instant coffee. You know what I mean? You want to sort of pre-mix it a little bit. That one I'll let slide, but tea? Jesus, tea. Milk forced in your tea. Them's fighting words, bud. Fighting words. Shocking. Next, you'd be telling me you dip rich tea biscuits into your coffee. Is that what's going on here? Is that what this is leading up to? Need to get yourself a proper hobnob there, bud. You know what I mean? Get yourself a decent biscuit. Like, rich teas are so terrible. I really I like eating a rich tea biscuit, but you just don't put it anywhere near your cup. It's like the wuss of biscuits. It sort of just falls apart looking at a cup of tea. You don't even have to dip it, and it'll just be like, it'll roll over and give up. Just getting more paint out of the pot. We're still, for anyone who's joined, we're doing Castellan green base coats for our orc uniforms. And they'll look a little something like this when we're finished with the base levels. Something like that. For now. Not fully painted, but getting there. Said it again. Oh no. Oh, here we go. Don't say the S word was mentioned. Stamper that also makes espresso. I smell a new competition challenge. What do you mean? We'll actually have a use for all them stompers that people have lying around? Stomp a kettle. Stomp a teapot. There you go. There's a meme in the making. I can't even remember the little teapot song. Like, I'm a little stomper. Yeah, I don't even remember that song, man. It's been that long. Definitely. Stomp a teapot. If Games Workshop sold Stomp a teapots, I'd buy one. There you go. There you go, Games Workshop. Free ideas there. Get it done. Nice ceramic teapot. And you could have a custom force field tea cozy. That would be sweet. Sounds like a brilliant idea. But I fear if we used actual stompers that they might just sort of fall apart. You never know. Just trying to get the paint to a decent consistency. And the old wet palette. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to use the wet palette with the contrast paints when they come out, or if we'll just have to use them straight out of the pot. You know what I mean? Steve-O. Rich teas are called one dips because that's all you get. If even, mate, you'll sort of like lower it down and pull it out again, and it'll be like whatever is left in your hand. That's it. That's it. You'd be lucky if you get a dip out of them. What's even worse is if you do it quick enough, pull it out, and then it sort of flops back into the teacup. Shocking. Tea everywhere. Many's a decent cup of tea was ruined by a rich tea biscuit. I tell you. My grandmother is favourites. She does love them. Does love them. Good rich tea biscuit. I'd be like, don't be dipping that now, Jesus, you'll ruin it. And then what's worst of all is if the biscuit falls apart, falls into the tea, you then have to go fishing at the bottom before it disintegrates into mush. And get with the teaspoon and get it out. Otherwise you'll have that. Do you ever drink it? You drink the cup of tea, and if like a rich tea biscuit's falling into the bottom, you'll end up with the dregs of the biscuit in the very last sup, and it's like, Jesus. Jesus. Hold on, will somebody not tell me that there's like biscuit flavoured tea? Biscuit flavoured tea bags? Something like that. Take the bag, rinse out the kettle, fresh water, milk first, let the tea brew slowly. Don't rush it, perfect brew every time. And shake. Yorkshire Gold all the way. Craig, man after me own heart. Yorkshire tea. Yorkshire tea. It's Yorkshire or go home. That's it. Proper Yorkshire Gold. I was disheartened when I moved to the UK. I was like, because I'd only tried PG tips and Tetleys and stuff like that, and I was like, Jesus, I thought the English, you know what I mean? I thought out of all the people who'd have decent tea bags, the English would have some decent ones. And it wasn't until Craig Marriott over there, the legend that he is, introduced me to Yorkshire tea bags. And then Yorkshire Gold. I was like, this is what I've been missing. You know what I mean? I was buying tea bags from Dublin and bringing them over to London. I was that disheartened. But yeah, proper Yorkshire Gold. Can't go wrong, bud. Can't go wrong. Not at all. I always find that shocking when you go to a hotel or something, they'll give you like, I don't know, some off-brand teabag crap. What's this? Free complimentary treats. That's not tea. Bleeding dishwater. We've been talking about tea quite a lot. As you can tell, I'm quite fond of it. Quite fond of a decent cup. People are saying hobnob's good, but too many crumbs. I suppose. Bourbons or custard creams are great. Or shortbread. Oh, man. What's the Scottish one? There's like a Scottish shortbread you can get. Oh, it's dirty. Really is. Super buttery. Like, really nice. Good shortbread. Do you know what is it? It's like this. You can get a blue tin at Christmas time. You can get a blue tin of shortbread, and it's like, oh, destroy that. I would. I really would. I forget the brand. It's really good though. Love a good bit of shortbread with a decent cup of tea. Happy days. Happy days. Craig Mario, shortbread fingers are the toughest biscuit for Duncan. Ciao for now. Take it easy, Wes. Squig Boss, Mad Knobs. Is there orc tea? I'm sure there's something the orcs drink. I'm sure there's like a fungus tea you could probably make. Yeah, like if there's anything the orcs need, usually there's a squig or a fungus for it. Ah, great idea for a conversion. The tea squig. It's shaped like a teapot. There you go. Fire away. There's a free conversion idea for you. The tea squig. Teapot shaped squig. What would you do? You'd do like his nose, maybe? Yeah, you'd probably do like a handle coming out his back. And it'd be like a teapot with legs and a big gnashing mouth or something. That has to happen. I'm gonna give that a bash. There you go, tea squig. That way, if anybody ever asks, oh, orcs don't drink tea, it's like, yeah, they do. Look, there's a tea squig. Talk about taking the army seriously, like, come on. Super serious. Have fun with it. That's the idea. Just have fun. And try not to take as long as I do with the paint minutes because, by Christ, I'll be here until next bleeding Christmas trying to get these boys done. Like I said, my painting on stream doesn't seem to be great, but I'll tidy it up afterwards. I'll give them the once over. I'll just try and get a base coat done. You know what I mean? Sure, Steve-O's cracking on with magnetizing. Miniatures. The rest of you are cracking on as well. Or slacking off and work. Shh, we won't tell if you don't. We won't say nothing, bud. Keep it stum. Look at this. Look at this bleeding. Pain in the arse. I say it'd be a lot easier to paint these with the gun off, but That requires effort, man. This is the problem I have with a lot of my miniatures, especially the looters. Oh, sweet Jesus. Like, I sprayed these guys silver. I think it was like the Forge World silver. Like, it's a little bit dusty. That's why it's sitting there that long. But, like, if you're going to be painting these guys and you haven't built them yet, don't fully build them. Do it in a sub-assembly. Because trying to get the brush in and underneath, in here, is just, oh, like in under there. It's such a pain in the ass. Trying to get into that arm as well. That arm in there. That's a torment, man. That's an absolute bloody torment is what that is. So, top tip, if you're buying looters, don't do what I did where it's like build and play them for like nearly 10 years and leave them sprayed silver. It's, my tip would be to get the mold lines off first and then put the base coats on. And then glue his arms on. So there you go. Bit of help. A bit of help for you. The blood of the dead. Motor oil. Sporty. It's called a brew. Orcs drink jet fuel. Makes the plans go faster. It makes the boys go faster too. Sounds like a speed freak brew. Jet fuel. I know there was they make beer and there's like Orca Cola where some folks did some conversions back in the day and they had like cans of Coke. Orca Cola. But like your imagination's the limit, man. You can do whatever you want with it. Go crazy. You know what I mean? Get your teapot made. To me, it sounds like someone's put the kettle on. Maybe I'm just hearing things. I've got tea on the brain. Painting under this light. Not the easy. We'll get it done. I think that's the most I'm going to get done on them now without making an absolute mess of it. Because normally when I'm painting like this. Whereas now it's like 1.5 feet away. We're getting there. We're soldiering on. I have 2 dudes left. Where's the knob gone? Literally about to say I misplaced my knob there, but oh, there he is. That sounds painful. Here's the knob for the unit. They just look cool, man. You know what I mean? Knobs from the knob set. I don't really like the knobs from the boy set. And you'll notice, yes, he is on a 32, but I only put the knobs on 32s. I'm not putting the rest of the augers on 32s. Get stuffed is what they can do. Slacking off work. That's me. It's like, shh, we won't tell if you don't. I love looters. What's a looter? Squig boss is. I have no idea. Maybe it's something lost in translation, maybe? I don't know. Find out soon enough. Same with bikers, paint the orc separate from the bike. Yeah, oh, yeah, well I learned that lesson. Because I got the Speed Freaks box set and I was like, oh yes, I'll leave the orcs off. It'll make life so much easier. Plus it means you can spray up the vehicle and do rust patterns and stuff like that in one go. It'll make life easier for you. Definitely. Yeah, there's a few miniatures that are like that could deal with sub assemblies. Definitely. Loot is being one of them. I'm not too sure about Borners. Maybe you could do Borners as well. But I don't think there's much in the way. Like there's only the pipe that's on the side that goes into the back and it doesn't take up too much space. But definitely looters. Definitely do looters in a sub-assembly. Bikes, yeah, bikes is a good idea. Is there really anyone else? I don't think so. I mean, with shooter boys, you don't really, because there's so many of them. You know, if you miss painting inside in the middle of their chest, like in under there, under the chin, you're not really going to notice unless you're picking someone's miniature up and doing that. You know what I mean? And then you'll be like, oh look, his chin isn't painted or whatever. But like, who's going to bother with orc boys? You've that many of them. They're just sort of the chaff. You know what I mean? Sort of thrown to the wind, kind of. Any paint on them is impressive in my eyes. Especially when you see a whole horde of them. You're like, holy smokes. Holy smokes, you painted 200 of these guys. Fair play to you. Your magic cone. Because you know they've sacrificed some of their sanity to get that army painted. Why, Jesus. It's the dedication, the hours, the time invested. Just to get orcs, an orc horde army base coated, let alone anything else done to it. It's just mad. And I think you realise that as well when you start to try and paint stuff. You realise how much effort people put into painting miniatures. Whereas if you don't, you just sort of like, yeah, it's an okay paint job. But then when you try to do something yourself, I think you appreciate just the sheer amount of time that's put in. You know? It's like even for the most basic paint jobs. I think we forget that sometimes when people show us armies and stuff like that. I think a lot of people are too quick to just dismiss them as, oh yeah, your paint job's shite. Like, oh, okay, yeah, the paint job may not be the best, but it's better than no fucking paint job. You know what I mean? And then just give people encouragement and be like, alright, cool. You may have put the paint on a bit thick though. I like your paint job. Or you might like the colour scheme or something like that. Or if you don't like anything about the painting at all, it's like, have you tried this technique? I don't know. You know what I mean? There's no point in just shitting on people. There are ways to give people advice without just shitting on them. I don't see the point in that. It doesn't get anyone anywhere. If you're gonna criticize someone, the top tip is tell them something you like about it. And then sort of gently sort of nudge them. Depends. If your mates are asking for like painting advice and stuff like that, you can be more critical with them. Like, you made a balls of that. That's not as good as your usual standard. They'd be like, yeah, you're right. I agree with you. Depends. You know how you stand with some people. Some people can take criticism. Other people can't. It just depends. If you don't know people, you have to sort of... It just depends. If they ask for it, you know, want help. They were saying magnetizing my dreads and cans bases. These 32 and 40mm are annoying. Small magnets too small, larger ones too big. I need to buy some medium-sized ones, it seems. Ah, I see. So the 22mm aren't everything they're cut out to be there, Steve-O. Is that what you're saying? Mountain Yeti saying, I find the knobs with the two-handed weapons are better painted without the arms. I have one here, I think. So I can understand that as well, because it's being held close to the body. Perhaps if you dust them down, that'll tell you how long it's been since I went near this guy. I can understand that, yeah, because it's being held close to the body, in underneath the chin and across the chest. It could be problematic trying to paint these guys up as well. So I could see how maybe if you left the arms off and then painted them up. This is another method I used to do for painting orc skin. Said there's loads of different ways to do it. I didn't actually start painting this guy. I literally did the skin, started on the metal. That's why he looks like a goth now, because he's still primed. He never got painted up. I think this was part of an Ardboy squad. Got him, a few more of them here. Made like a 12 boys Ardboy squad, and they're all like armored and helmets and stick bombs and stuff. And this was the knob from the squad, because I thought he looked cool with like the metal helmet, the metal jaw, the big axe. I mean, I think there's supposed to be stick bombs glued onto the back of him there. But yeah, the skin doesn't actually look too bad on this. I think I put some effort into these guys. But yeah, I can understand what you mean. Trying to get this area in here painted can be problematic, to say the least. Squig Boss Mad Knobs, are you going to make an army showcase? I've done an army showcase before, Squig Boss Mad Knobs. My army showcase consists of a lot of unbuilt and unpainted orc miniatures. I don't have much painted, but what I will do, starting with this year, is I will show what I have painted, which isn't much. I have a large collection of orcs, I just don't have a lot of them painted. I have a lot of orcs. A lot of stuff. I haven't put the effort into painting a lot of this stuff. Just being a lazy bugger, you know? But yeah, should probably get him finished up at some stage. He's on the long finger, like many other projects. Steve was saying, tell them their painting is great, then laugh about it behind their backs. That's what a blood axe would do. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Slander. Steve was saying in the 40s, 2mm doesn't make contact with the metal, and 3mm is the tiniest bit taller than the base. You're going to have to use a larger 2mm, I think. Can you not use a drill bit and drill into the base if it's a little bit thicker? Sort of countersink the magnet a little bit. See if you can get away with that. But I understand what you're saying. Just a few 2mm space. I suppose you could do you could try, like, you could put in a wodge of green stuff. Oh, that could work. Get the base for the miniature, yeah? Put some super glue and then get like a ball of green stuff and wodge it in there, and then glue or mush the magnet into it until it's flush. You know what I mean? It'll mean you don't have to spend all that money on extra magnets. You can just use green stuff and super glue, and then try and just put it on a flat surface then. And then that should level it out. Like, you'll have a magnet that's glued into the base with a bit of green stuff, and it'll be flush. That might work. I used to do that when I used to pin my orcs, my killer cans. I used to put green stuff underneath so there was something to anchor them into. And I'd go from there. So you could give that a go, Steve-O. See if that works for you. That's a lot of drilling. You're the madman magnetizing all the bases. You know? It's like, well, if you're doing a bit of work, you might as well go the whole hog. Did you guys get into a fight in a Games Workshop? Squig Boss? Me? No. I haven't gotten into a fight, thankfully. I've managed to avoid confrontations. You can't really get into fights in Games Workshop in Ireland because there's only like 1 or 2 of them. You know what I mean? You get yourself banned from there and it's like, well, good luck. It's not like the UK where you could go around annoying Games Workshops and just move on to the next village. I think that's it for now, guys. We have managed to get a decent amount of progress done. 2 hours absolutely fly by when we're doing streams, so I'll finish him off, and I think there's another 3 guys out of this squad. So far, we've managed to get a fair few of them painted up in just the base green colours. So this is 10 orc boys that I've been working on. It's getting them tabletop basic standard. Remember, we're aiming for something like that at the end of it with this squad. And there's 30 of them to go through, so I'm just taking them in chunks of 10. So that's all the painting for this time around. I will be jumping into the Discord. I'll put another link into the chat. I'm going to go off and have something to eat because I've been nattering away for 2 bleeding hours. But I will be jumping into the Discord, into the Gork or Mork voice channel Hangout. So if you want to go chat to me there, probably be in about an hour or 45 minutes or something along that timeline. I'll jump in there and I'll keep painting these guys away. But that is going to be it for this hobby hangout. So thanks for sticking around. Absolute blast. And we'll catch you in the next one. So take it easy, guys. Thanks for sticking around. See you in the next one. Bye now.